they got, you know, they got airports everywhere now, you know, and people have been going on holiday.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like in the 70s, people were, you know, holiday industry was flying, you
Yeah.
know, 80s, people were going everywhere.
Well,
90s.
talking about that, have you seen that the passport people are striking as well? Have you heard about that?
No.
The people that make the passports
Yeah.
have done a 5-week strike.
Okay.
And apparently this time of the year is when they would have the most applications for passports. The people that are applying now, so come August, July, August, September, they can go on holiday, renewing their passport or getting new passports for their kids or whatever.
Okay.
And apparently these people are taking a 5-week strike.
All right. Okay.
And
well, that's the future for you, isn't it? You know?
that's what I'm saying. So like, what I'm trying to say is people are fed up. That's why people are doing all this shit, because people have just had enough. People are just saying, listen, we've had enough of your shitty system. A lot of people are not able to figure out to come up with, have like multiple streams of income. Not everyone is able to do that. If you see what I mean, there's, you know, you can do it. A lot of people are able to do it, but there's some people out there that just work a job. If you see what I mean, there's nothing else. If you see what I mean, but if you're working a job and you know you're getting paid a certain salary, you've got to find something that you could do on the side, like, you know what I mean. And I'm not talking about anything illegal or anything. I'm just talking about trying to find some kind of side hustle where you can make a little bit more money on the side, like, you know what I mean, to put in your pocket, like, you know. Can't just be accepting being broke, excuse me, as like an option, if you see what I mean. Like, you know, if you're choosing, like, if you're you know, it's like if you know, you've got to put the work in, you know. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice. Sometimes you say, listen, I know I'm only getting X amount of money a month from my job, and I need a little bit more money to keep me, you know, so I can do what I want to do and X, Y, Z and blah blah blah. Then you've got to find a little side hustle to put, you know, to get that money and save it up and do what you need to do. If you see what I mean, you know. But yeah, the future
is interesting.
And it's looking bright, mate. It's looking rather bright.
Well, I'm looking forward to the future, you know, but
yeah.
I think you have to, I think everyone wants to be well off, don't they, in this world, really, in the future. We're all aiming to be rich, really, aren't we, you know? Not all of us, I don't think.
Not all of us.
But a lot of us, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, me, I personally don't want to be rich, you know. I wouldn't want, you know, in a kind of way, you know, having all that money would make me feel quite greedy, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd want to get rid of it,
Mm.
do you know what I mean? It just, I don't know. But I think I want to be well off, well enough to buy my own home, be independent, that's all, you know. I can't believe, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen in the show, you know, you get banging, you know. It's incredible. Like at night, really late at night as well. Incredible. It's funny, isn't it? But you just don't know what's going to happen in the future.
I'm laughing because in my head, right, mate, I'm picturing someone's installing a bloody bathtub or something up there. Like, what is going on?
I don't know. You know, I don't often hear anything, honestly.
Mm.
You know, and it's typically when we're recording, you know.
But like you said, what I like about it in this episode too as well, that is why it's, you know, all this is absolutely fantastic, because it just goes back to what we said, you know, we're talking about the future. And like you said, the first thing you said earlier, one of the first things you said is no one knows what's going to happen in the future. So.
No, you don't. And then you got.
So.
I mean,
it's unpredictable. You know?
It's strange though, because there's an old lady that lives upstairs, and I can't understand why she's got the hammer out right now. You know.
Maybe she's
fixing.
Maybe
something.
She's some kind of like
you
some
know,
kind of granny serial killer or something.
So you don't know what's going to happen in the future.
She might be up there beating people up with, you know.
That's what I mean. The funny thing about the future, you really don't know what's going to happen.
Mm.
You don't really know even if you're going to wake up or not. You know, but. I think like tomorrow, yeah, I probably am going to wake up, alright. You know, I don't think that's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's not likely. You know, I feel like I've got another 20 years left. Let's put it that way. Do you know what I mean? You know, and what am I aiming for in my future? You know, I'm aiming to get happier in life. You know, and I would like to be independent, really, sort of like, because I don't own my home, you know, and be nice to own it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Being maybe nice to meet a girlfriend one day for me, you know, somebody more matching to me.
Yeah.
Like my ex-wife, I don't feel like she was matching to me, you know. She didn't. I mean, I love insects and things. She didn't, you know. And there's kind of like lots of differences, you know, whatever. But in the future, I want to find somebody more matching to me, you know. That somebody that loves insects like me, you know, da da da. You know?
You have common interests and shared interests.
Yeah.
And passions and shit.
Yeah. But so I'm enjoying my moments more now than I did when I was married.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. That's hard work. You know, it is hard work being married. I think.
It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, mate.
Or it can be.
Can be.
It depends. It depends whether you're both trying or not. I think.
Yeah.
I think it can be easy if you're both trying.
Not always still too, mate. Sometimes when you've been together for a while, sometimes, you know, sometimes it's not always easy, but it's, you know.
Well, you know, like I say, the system itself is very difficult, isn't it? You know, that you've got to be a mathematician, you've got to be this, you know, and it's very hard work for everyone. I think every individual to be a mother, to be a father, to be, you know, all these things. When the system is sort of like, I don't know, you know, it's sort of like we've got to pay this and pay that, you know, we've got to pay for everything, really, our travel, we've got to pay for that.
It's funny that you say that because they said that even, I think there's like a statistics that can actually prove that infidelity and cheating is not the #1 reason for divorce and separation. It's usually something financial.
Yeah, that's true.
It's usually, they say the #1 thing when it comes to divorce and usually relationship breakdowns and separation, especially long-term ones, it's usually something financial. And the other one, obviously, #2 is probably infidelity, you know. But they said the main one was financial.
It is very, you know, I think money's stressful for everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
They've got to get up and be on the ball. 9 o'clock, not allowed to be late, you know. And if they do, you know, if they take a day off, they're going to lose money and all this, you know. And it's a monopoly out there, isn't it? You know, and it's hard work. You know, it never always used to be like this. You know, people used to be the mother, used to be a father. You know, not all this complicated sort of world we're living in today, where you've got to have a typewriter and a calculator. You know, to do your bills and all this. You know.
Yeah.
Like I say, we've got to be calculators these days. You know, I feel in this. You know, modern man's got. They're almost like thinking with numbers all the time, do you know what I mean? Almost, you know?
Yeah.
It's a different world to it used to be.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and it's forever changing, you know, and you've got to sort of think, what, you know, what's going to happen in the future next, really, you know?
And you've got to try and keep up with the times to a degree too as well, of course, you know, you've got to try and, you know, because obviously you get left behind technologically otherwise, if you see what I mean, you know? Especially if you're of a certain age, you know, you need to try and keep up with technology to a degree, you know, because you can, you know, it's like online banking and all these various different things we've got today, you know, that have made life a lot easier and a lot more, you know, sometimes to transfer money, or instead of having to go into the bank physically, you can just do it from home and these things, if you see what I mean. So a lot of people now today use online banking, but this is something we didn't have a few years ago, if you see what I mean. But, you know, it's just keeping up with the technology when it comes, you know, just, you know, not all of it, because obviously some of it's not always for our benefit as the human race, but a lot of it, some of it, like these things, to make our life easier and quicker, do help, if you see what I mean, you know. So.
I mean, a lot of children got dyslexic.
Yeah.
You know, and they find it difficult with numbers as well.
True. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. The world's not fair on these people. You know, in a kind of way, they're still human. They still got eyesight.
But
they're still here.
In all honesty, I think a lot of companies today, are starting to recognise that this is a problem, and are trying to implement things like Braille, and like they can say it, like they can say it instead of typing it, if you see what I mean. They can speak it instead of actually having to physically press it on the keypad if they're not, if you see what I mean, not able to, you know, recognise the numbers and do it properly, if you see what I mean. They can actually like voice like voice recognition
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, speech. So I think they are trying today to try and address some of these problems, because I think it's like, okay, back in the day, people that were in wheelchairs and shit, when they first built shopping malls and stuff, when they didn't have escalators and elevators in them before this shit, people that were in lifts and in wheelchairs and all this type of stuff didn't have access. If you get what I'm saying, they couldn't go up to the 3rd or 4th floor in the establishment unless someone literally picked. Some people, you know what I mean. People were willing to take them up 4 bloody flights of stairs.
Yeah, but a long time ago we didn't have those free, you know, those kind of like.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So now today, things are they've over time. I think man has, like, we've built stuff and then realised, okay, there's a problem. If you see what I mean. So now we're going to implement. We've got to build elevators. We need something where we can make it so inclusive for everyone. No one's excluded. No one, you know what I mean. That, you know, we've got elevators, we've got escalators, and all these various different things that we can, you know. Yeah.
I just think, like, we've changed completely, you know. Like, you look at us 500 years ago, we weren't, you know, there weren't any factories about, you know. It's completely different to what we got now. You know?
Yeah, completely different way of life.
So you sort of think, can it be different in another 500 years time from now? And it will be.
It will be, yeah.
It will be, you know, it does change.
But I kind of worry about humanity to a degree though, mate. Because the way technology is advancing today, and the way things are looking, it doesn't look too good for humanity, mate. You know? It almost looks like humanity is going to become like half human, half bloody robot or something, you know, some kind of like,
well, I think that's
some humanoid kind of, you know,
I think that's
shit.
the stage that we're at now, you know, like we're sort of like half nature. The world used to be all nature, do you know what I mean? We used to have loads of zebras and everything that's on it and all kinds, you know, lots of different insects. But today, it's like man has turned it into half a robot.
Yeah.
If you know, in a kind of machine, half the world.
Half the world is machine.
You know, you know, you've still got a bit of countryside left here and there, you know, but it's dying. The world, what it was, you know, the natural world that we all used to live in.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is that, like, if we didn't have all this noise distraction that we've got in this modern world, people would be able to focus on their own self a bit more, their own thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like today people are getting distracted in so many different, not just noise, entertainment as well, which we're talking about, you know. People are not sort of focusing on their own in themselves, you know.
Yeah.
They're not, doing yoga with their own mind, you know, sort of meditating, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, meditation is very important.
I agree with that.
You know, and if you meditate, you sort of like relax, and you're calm, and you float with the moment, okay? And the moment is the most beautiful thing, and people are not really living in the moment, you know, because of the world we're living in. It's confusing, people are lost, or they're working, you know, and they can be the natural selves, what they should be in this robotic sort of industrial world we're living in.
Yeah.
You know, and is the industrial revolution, you know, not, you know, I think the industrial revolution happened about 150 years ago, maybe. So it's growing, and whether it's still growing, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You know, whether they're making machines better than, you know, they are, aren't they? You know, it is growing still. But it changed, man. You know, we all used to be farmers, basically. You know, now we're doctors, we're actors, we're all kinds of things.
So many different industries, and
you know, children used to play in the farms. You know, and they used to actually sort of like grow things. You know, with their family, and that used to make them feel beautiful. You know, can you imagine it? Sort of like having a house with your own children. They didn't have to go to school.
Yeah.
You know how lovely that is, and a paradise. You know. You know, but that paradise is gone, I think. You know, it's been taken away from everyone.
Yeah.
You know, children go to school during the daytime now, and all people wander around alone. They don't see any children around anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's all divided in a big way. You know, we're not a tribe anymore like we used to be. You know, we're all being kind of like separated in many different ways. I think. You know.
Mm. Yeah, it's true.
I think we are.
Mm.
You know, so who knows the future? You know, the next generation's going to be the one that's going to pick up whatever mess that we've left behind in a kind of way. You know?
Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important for like I think that's why what we were talking about earlier, thinking about the future when you're making decisions, like because like you said, you know the decisions we make now, everything that all the shit that we get wrong as a human race, as mankind at this present moment, will affect the generations to come. Like you said, if you see what I mean, you know. So there's things that we have to think about, you know. You know, I want my kids to live in a sustainable world, you know, where everything's, you know, everything's affordable and people can have a decent life and, you know, have a safe, safe, happy, you know, life, you know, essentially, you know. So yeah, you know, we all, you know, it's about I think it's just about human beings coming to the understanding that it's for the greater good, essentially, you know, that you know, that thing of the greater good, you know. Yeah. Human evolution, you know, ensuring that the future is brighter and better than what it is today, you know.
Well, I think they are working on cars at the moment, like this government here, bringing in a 15-minute rule or something in each town, and you know they basically want to get people off the road.
Well,
they make it more difficult.
They're trying to create these little smart cities where they can bloody control people, how they move around and their movements and stuff. They've already started it in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
Controlling where people can which direction people can come and go throughout towns, if you see what I mean. And they try to make it so everything's within 15 minutes of everything. Mm-hmm. If you see what I mean.
Oh, right.
If you see what I mean, they're trying to make trying to make these little smart cities and smart towns.
Yeah.
And control people's movements, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about, you know, like, I mean, like so I haven't really got much longer here as well. I haven't, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like I say, some people think they're going to live forever, don't they? You know, and you're not.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you say, we were talking about time. It goes really quick.
Yeah. I'm going to live forever, but not might not be in the physical form. You know. But I believe I'm going to live forever. You know. I know one day my time will come and I will transform and move on. But I know that I'll live forever. I feel like my soul will just live on. My essence, you know.
It's possible.
I'm trying to get.
It's possible.
I'm trying to advance to a higher dimension, mate. Speaking about the future, you know. And when I go, I want to move on. I want to be so enlightened that I move on to a higher dimension, you know, and not have to, you know, might not reincarnate back into, you know, into the three-dimensional world, you know, into the, might escape the reincarnation cycle and you know, move on to a higher plane, you know,
well,
or some spiritual shit, you know.
Well, apparently you reach a higher conscience and a higher plane when you're compassionate. The more compassionate you are, the more higher you will get. Because compassion, after all, is love.
Yeah, true.
When you think about it. So the more compassionate you got, you know, love, the more higher you're going to be. Basically. You know, I mean, it's like me, right? I feel like I love every tree out there, do you know what I mean? And every flower, and that's how I feel. You know? You know, so that's love for you, you know? I do, I love every tree out there, you know? So that's something to be happy about, I feel. You know, and I genuinely mean that. I love trees, you know, with my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think people need to love nature itself and life. Yeah? You know, if you enjoy that, you know, life and yourself, you're going to have a good future, I think, if you see what I mean. I feel,
Yeah.
you know, I'm enjoying life a lot more, like I told you, you know, I mean, I think, like, divorce and marriage a bit and having children, you know, it's difficult times.
Oh yeah.
Difficult times when you think about it, you know.
Yeah.
It's only till the children grows up that it gets a bit easier in a kind of way, you know, when they get independent.
Yeah.
You know, and you can get on with your own life again in a kind of way, you know, be independent again, you know, once your children become independent.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think even then, mate, your kids, you know, your kids always depend on you to act, you know, to some degree.
Well, big time,
you know,
for their future,
for the rest of their lives, you know. It's just like it's just that thing of like being a parent. Like even when they leave home, you know, you're still gonna worry about them. You still love and care about them, and you worry. Of course, you're still gonna worry, you know. But obviously, when kids get to a certain age, you know, they have to be, you know, just like you did. You know, you've got to be independent and do your own thing. You know, have your own life, and you know, have your own experiences and you know, etc. You know.
Well, you know, like when they're a baby, if you don't care for them, they're going to die, you know.
Yeah.
Like I say, when they're first born, anyone's first born, you're relying on everyone else.
Completely dependent, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you don't know whose hands you're in, because you know, it's quite scary, really, isn't it? You know, some children are being born to terrible parents, you know, and, you know, like I say, you don't choose your parents. And yeah, you don't know whose hands you're in, you know, when you're a baby, who's looking after you, you know. So yeah, I think it'd be quite scary for a baby, really, you know. I wonder what they cry a lot, you know. I think, you know, thinking about it is probably the scariest moment of my life when I was born, you know, sort of coming out and seeing everything for the first time, do you know what I mean? And you don't know anyone, do you, when you first come out, you know, you're getting to know. You know, your future, you know, is all beyond you when you're born, aren't you? You know, sort of like, and you're getting to know everything.